Hi, last week I showed you various computer techniques to achieve a pretty good video recording using a Sony a5000. Well, this week I'm going to be even more specific. I'm going to show you the correct video setting that you need to do in order to achieve even a better quality video image from this cheap APS-C camera that you can get for less than $200 or around $250 including the kit lens. So let's get started. Alright, in order to get a good video recording from the Sony a5000, this is what you need to do. The first step is to make sure you set your focus to manual focus. This is very important. With the Sony camera, the older model, the 6000s and the 5000s, what happened is if you don't set it to manual focus and get rid of the face detection, what happened with the Sony video recording that they tend to smooth out your skin so it looks very waxy and smooth. Some of you may enjoy that because it's kind of, get rid of some of these aberration in your skin and all that. That's fine, but I think it looks pretty fake. It doesn't look as natural looking. So the first step you need to do is get rid of those face detection and then set your focus to manual. That's very important. And then what you get is a very clean video recording, and the skin surface will look the same as it always looked, natural, no enhancement or smoothing. Alright, so how do you do that? Let's go right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording on this Sony a5000 and I'm going to go to the menu. Now notice it's a little bit noisy now. It's because I'm recording through my external recorder, and when I stop recording the image is not as great, but don't worry about that. That's more of the HDMI output, how it communicate with the external recorder. Okay, so let's go through the menu here. Manual focus. So what you do is go to camera setting, and now also another very important thing is, I almost forgot about that, is that do not set it to video. Okay, don't set it to video. That's video mode. Again, with the video mode it will smooth out your skin, so set it to manual control. Okay, not movie control, just as camera manual control. That's what you need. They call it manual exposure on that menu there. Okay, make sure you set to that first. Then the next thing is, okay, see, you can move. Oops, let's move. Oh, sorry. There we go. Yeah, so under focus mode, make sure you change to manual focus. That's very important. Okay, and then now it doesn't really matter if you want to do focus area because you're doing manual focus anyway. Okay, once you do that, let's bring it out. Okay, the next thing is make sure you focus. Ooh, that's pretty bad, right? My skin's pretty horrible. There we go. Okay, you can see when you move this focus ring. See if I can. Yeah, there we go. I want to focus on my eye. There we go. That looks pretty sharp. And once you do that, there we go. This is a setting that you want. And there, it's all. Now, if you're sitting like this, you have it done manually, the focus, then everything will be looking, will look very sharp. If you're doing filming of an object or a person, all that, yeah, everything has to be done manually. Okay, so you notice my skin now looks very natural. There's no smoothing of the skin whatsoever. Another thing you need to do as well, before I forget, is the face detection. You need to turn that off. I know it's kind of bad. Turn that off. It's off already. But the problem with the face and smile detection, I think, does affect the smoothness of the skin as well. So, and then when you're doing manual focus, it doesn't really matter anyway, because if it's manual focus, then the face detection really doesn't matter, because usually face detection and smile detection go hand in hand with the autofocus. So keep that in mind. So it might as well just turn it off. Okay, and make sure you turn off the smooth skin effect as well. That's important. Okay, so that's that. Once you have that set up, then you're ready to go. I'm in focus right now. I'm using manual focus. Yeah, everything's ready to go. Next thing is, you notice here my shutter speed is set to 1/30th. Now you wonder, why am I setting it to 1/30th when I'm recording 1080p 24 frames per second? Normally, you know, the filmmaker will suggest that you do 1/48th. Now on a Sony a5000 you can only do 1/50th, so you round to the whole number, which is a whole 10th number is 1/50th. Okay, you can only do 1/30th, 1/40th, 1/50th, 1/60th, so we'll leave it at 1/50th. Now I left it at 1/30th. Now, why would I do that? Well, if it's just a talking head like I'm doing right now, so you need to know what kind of filming you're doing. If you're doing a talking head like I'm doing right now, it's okay to set it 1/30th because there's not much motion, like there's not much movement, just myself talking, so it's okay to set it 1/30th. Why would you set it to 1/30th versus 1/50th? Well, 1/30th you get a more light coming in, is more brighter. Okay, let me show you. For example, if it's at 1/30th, it's pretty bright, but if I set it to 1/50, you see how dark it is? Or 1/60th. Okay, so 1/50th is usually the standard, but I can bring that up and set it to 1/30th, and you notice that increased the stop by almost 2/3. Okay, so that's very good. So as long as you're doing a talking head like I'm doing right now, you can set it to 1/30th. Okay, now the aperture is set to f3.5. That's when I'm filming at 18 mils. Okay, the distance from myself to the lens is around, I think, 30 centimeter, and so I'm setting about, I think it's right now at 18 mils, f3.5. If I zoom in to, like, say 55 mils, then it'll be f5.6. So I want to open as much aperture, like the size of the aperture as much as I can, so allowing more light to go in. So in order to do that, I would have to zoom out at 18 mils, or 20, up to 20 is okay too. It's going to be f3.5. Okay, so now allowing light to come in. Okay, so it's important that you position your camera properly as well. ISO, notice, is set to the lowest as possible. You don't want it too low, then it'll be very dark. So I set it ISO 640. This is the, I think, the optimal ISO for the Sony a5000. There's not much noise in here, as you can see. Now, right now, you can see a little bit of noise is because I'm recording externally. Okay, if I press record, then the camera won't be as noisy. But when you're recording, just make sure you set ISO to 640. If you can get a better lens, the 28 f2 FE lens, then go for that one because it's a wider aperture. That probably be a better for bring more light in. But since, you know, we're using a kit lens, you know, it's pretty cheap to get a kit lens, and that's all we have when we have to stick with f3.5, and so you have to adjust the camera accordingly to compose your shot. Okay, so bring that aperture up to 3.5, and then you might have to stick with the 18 mils or 20 mils, and then just position your camera to compose your shot. Okay, so usually it's the other way around, where you actually adjust your lens and the person doesn't move. This time the person has to move, or you have to move the camera to the subject. So okay, just keep that in mind. But we want f3.5 the widest possible to bring more light in. ISO the lowest as possible, okay, but not too low where you allow light to come in. So ISO 640 is what I say optimal, and then 1/30th shutter speed. Okay, lastly, what you need to do, let me show you the last setting. Okay, what you need to do next is go to let's see, white balance. Okay, this is very important. Make sure you set up your white balance properly. Okay, so make sure you set that properly. But right now I set the white balance to 2800 Kelvin because the light that I have is a bit yellow, like a morning or evening. It's not very bright like daylight. It's more like a morning and evening type of light. The 5, I guess 6-7 o'clock, where it's a bit orangey yellow color. So 28 Kelvin is the setup, and then that's my lamp light in general. And then what I do is I change it further by using the knob. Let me show you right now. See, what you go is you use this knob and move it to the right. Click on the knob here, the ring knob, right? and then you click there, and it will give you more menu. And this is where you bring up a submenu. A lot of people don't know about this thing. Okay, so you bring out this particular color grid. Okay, so you have the Kelvin. You can adjust that accordingly. Now notice how I set it up for the 28 Kelvin light system. What I did was I move it to, now again, it depends on your skin tone, you know, like what ethnic group you are. Like I'm Asian, so my color is a bit yellowish in terms of my skin color. It's light yellow, so I want it to be a bit pink, you know, like very natural beauty, normal beauty color is that kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, it's like a bit pink, natural skin tone that a lot of people enjoy. So what I did was I changed the setting to bring it a bit more pink on the side, not too yellowy. Because another thing with Sony camera, it tend to be yellow and green in the image. So what you want to do is you want to go the opposite, and then bring it more of the pink, orange, blue, I guess, color coming out, and look more natural on the skin. And so here I brought the setting. Okay, just use your control knob and bring it to B2 M4. That's very important. And once you do that, you're ready to go. Okay, let's see, there we go. So now if you look at me now, this is what I like. This is pretty much the color of my skin I want. Now I can do more on post. This is why it's important that your ISO is not too high. So set it to 640, and then when you do post, when you stretch a little bit, like you color grade a little bit, then the noise won't show up as much. Okay, so that's very important. So if you want to color grade on a Sony a5000, remember this is an 8-bit 420 camera, so you can't do too much color grading. You gotta be very mindful of that. And so you have to have a proper setup right in camera, like what I'm doing right now. Okay, and then you can do it post. So I'm going to do a post right now. I'm going to show you the steps. Let's have a look. Okay, so I just imported this video that I recorded with the a5000, the setting that I showed you, into the timeline of DaVinci Resolve 16 Studio. Now if you use the standard or the free version, this should be fine as well. Okay, so you notice here the color looks pretty good already, so there's not much to change, other than I noticed that I still want it to look more brighter, and I want to give more skin tone to my image. So what I'll do is I'll go over to the color wheels. There it is. And the trick is, you can see here, this is the color curve, and what we want to do is bring it, as you can see here, the graph ends somewhere here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it all the way to the left, and you notice it's getting brighter. See that? It's brighter. So we're going to stop somewhere here. Okay, and I think that's good. See, that's pretty dark, but I'm going to bring it all the way to here. All right, again, you choose what you like in terms of the brightness of the image. I like it somewhere here. Okay, the next thing I want to bring is I want to bring the shadow up a little bit more. So somewhere here I'm going to move the curve slightly up. There we go. Okay, and there we got this brighter achievement of shadow. So the shadow is gone, at least on the left side of the face. It doesn't look as obvious. Not high contrast look. I don't like that too much. Okay, the next thing I want to do is saturation. So I want more color in my skin, so I'm going to bring that saturation. Right now it's set at 50, so we're going to bring it up to around 65, I guess, to 66, 67. Let's bring that up. What's that now? Okay, let's make it, that's pretty good. Right, you notice that if I move it. So that's set to around 65, okay, around there. There we go, 65.5, that's good enough. And then, now again, it's not bad, right? I think this is pretty good already. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to add more color to the face. So let's bring that, again, there we go. So see, I can go, don't want to bring too much. So let's reset that, okay, to 0. Bring it maybe to 5 or 10. Let's see a bit more. Yeah, I think 10 is good, right? Yeah, it's hard to tell because I have a small monitor right now I'm looking at, but we'll set it to around 10. Okay, looks pretty good already. Now again, I notice this is a bit of yellow to the skin, so I can move the offset color wheel to slightly blue, teal blue. So I'm gonna bring it down. There we go. Looks pretty good. Okay, that's about right. So I'm happy with this image. Then let me bring back to the editing timeline. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's play it and see what it looks like. And then I have to export it to see the final look to this video recording, and see. But yeah, I think this is quite good. I kind of enjoy this image. I'm going to show you at the end of this video before and after, okay? And then you can decide for yourself whether the post that I did was a bit better. Again, it's all personal preference. Some people may add a bit more blue to the skin, or a little bit more red, or a little more yellow. It really depends on you. But there we go. Alright, thanks for watching. EducateTube.com.
Here I am where the movie started, facing at a photo they've taken. Space tree flying through the skies, and battles happen everywhere. I don't need any hero to save me. I don't know why the kids always crying. I've been thinking about all the captains, but we left in a wasted planet. Can you feel the spark in city light when it's day to night? That's the sparkles from my beating heart when it breaks so hard.